Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Hangar Control with Microsoft Flight Simulator. And something that is coming up quite a lot lately is questions about helicopters. So we are going to go through binding this Taog's Hangar UH-1 Huey from Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 in none other than Hangar Control. Hopefully I will be able to help you guys find all of your controls, switches, and buttons that are pertinent. We're not going to do every little switch and dime that we can find, but we're definitely going to hit all of those crazy ones. We're going to hit the axis, we're going to hit the trims, and we're going to hit anything else that we can pick up along the way that might be important to bind. Stick around. One app designed to do it all. Hangar Control brings everything together. Control bindings, hardware configuration, mod and profile management, application launching, add-ons, config files, and more, all managed from a single application. Mods Hangar goes beyond just mods and add-ons. It manages profiles, config files, text files, backups, snapshots, and helps keep your community folders clean and organized. Application Hangar launches your entire sim stack with a single click. Your Stream Decks are fully controlled through the Hangar Control plugin, while all of your other Stream Deck plugins remain active and available. Built by a simmer for simmers, Hangar Control adds new features and hardware support every week based on community feedback. It's a one-time purchase with lifetime updates, no subscriptions. You can try it for free for 5 days with no restrictions at overkillsimulations.com. Just create an account, head to your account page, download the latest version, and get started. And if you're looking for in-depth Microsoft Flight Simulator aircraft tutorials, check out my Patreon site. Links to Hangar Control and Patreon are down in the description below. Okay, folks, so as always, if you guys are interested in giving Hangar Control a shot, wait for it. That's Monster, not the other thing. Make sure you guys go to overkillsimulations.com. You must create your account first, even if you want to do the 5-day trial or purchase the software outright. Be sure to create that account first, then log into the site. If you're going for the trial, hit the red account button, and there will be an option there to download the software once you are in. And if you're looking to purchase, make sure you hit that Buy Hangar Control button up in the top right, but make sure you are logged in first. Okay, so today we're probably going to be touching on a couple of different things. We'll probably hit the Stream Deck for a little bit. We're going to hit, obviously, the Cyclic, the throttle. Now, my combat rig, if you will, the one that has my Verpal collective, is currently down at the moment. It's under construction. You know, I see big yellow warning signs around all that. Caution, do not enter this area is its current status at the moment. So we're going to be using the Bravo. I know, lame, but we will definitely be revisiting this section when it comes time for me to set the combat rig back up, because we're got a lot of things coming to the channel here in the next few days, and so I'm having to modify and rethink my layouts here so that way I'm not constantly having to switch gears every 12 seconds. But let me take a sip of my Monster and we'll get going. Oh man, I'm telling you guys, the zero sugar ultra strawberry dreams, it's the best one. Anyway, let's get moving. So let's jump into the cockpit here. Obviously, the first thing that you want to do, two options. When you go to your controls, you can either click on each one of your devices, nice. Either deactivate like I do because I'm lazy, or you can create a blank profile. Now, a common misconception and a question that comes up a little bit, and this is true for SPAD, X's and O's, Hangar Control, doesn't matter. You can still use these controls inside of the sim if you are binding using Hangar Control, SPAD, X's and O's, whatever. You just can't have anything that conflicts. You don't want the same button or axis bound in Hangar Control that you have bound in Microsoft Flight Simulator, unless you want them to fight each other. So there's your two choices are to either A, deactivate, or B, create new profiles with everything blanked out and wiped out. And again, as long as you do not bind the same button or axis, not the same control. We're not talking about taxi light, landing light. I'm talking about literally the button. As long as you do not put a binding to a button or axis that is in Hangar Control inside of MSFS or vice versa, you're fine. You can still use them both. But some people like to do that, especially for camera controls. Because for whatever reason, Microsoft Flight Simulator, although with the new beta, camera controls may be coming to all of us, you know, whether it be, again, access and O's, SPAD, Hangar Control, doesn't matter. Okay, but we want to deactivate it. So let's start with some of the big ones. First, we're going to come on down here, and we're going to address all of our access commands here. So we're going to hit the rudders, we're going to hit the cyclic, we're going to hit the collective. So let's get those done first. Wrong button. Speaking of Hangar Control, let's get to Hangar Control. Okay, so first we obviously want to start service, but first let's create a profile just for this. Add profile, and we'll just call this one Huey. Helicopters, I'm probably going to be doing individual one just because of the fact that a lot of them have their own custom commands, so we'll see. Might change things up later, but let's go to choose devices, get some devices on here. We might want one of the Rotors. I'm not quite sure why you're seeing two of them because only one of them is plugged in, but I'll have to address that. Anyway, we'll drop one of those guys in. We want the Bravo. We want the AB6. We want my Falcon rudder pedals. We're going to go ahead and start the service and let the games begin with rudders. This guy right here. We're going to go to bind, add. Now, this one should honestly just be rudder _ set. For SimConnect commands, you shouldn't have to worry about capitalization, things like that. We do want to make sure use access is checked. Hit save, and what do we got? There they are. But if you guys see, they are inverted. So I'm going to come in here, go to access tune, invert, scroll down. Okay, save, bing, bing. Oh, wait. You know what? I don't think they were inverted. I think I just inverted them. Let me double check that. Yeah. And this guy needs more caffeine? Probably not, but we're doing it. Okay, so now let's go back. And let's address the collective. That's obviously the next big one here. So let's come over here. We're going to go to access and see what we got. So I'm going to kick all these down. There we go. We're already in the detents and things like that. So we're going to start with this. Well, you know what? Actually, I'm actually going to use this one over here for this one because that way I don't have to keep reaching way the hell over the throttle. I guess it doesn't really matter. Yes, this is what I do all day long, by the way, folks. I talk to myself. I fight with myself. I argue with myself. It's just like... So the first thing we're going to try is just throttle set, _ set, and we don't want axis, we just want throttle. Now, there's this axis helicopter throttle set. Two of these are here. We're going to see which one works. Because believe it or not, 9 times out of 10, as you can see, just the good old-fashioned Microsoft Flight Simulator command throttle set works just fine. Now I'm trying to decide how I want to do it. So right now, it's working like a normal throttle, right? So I have it in the complete aft position, the idle position, and then this is full throttle position, right? I guess for today's events, we'll test that, but you guys can decide however you want to do that. If you'd like to have to actually pull down on the throttle, you know, that'll work. And then obviously for you collective users, you would obviously want that to be lifted. So you probably have to invert that axis, but it depends on the control. All right, so that covers that for right now. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to jump into the Moza AB6. And again, I'm telling you, most of these, so this is the x-axis, it's going to be our ailerons. Most things, ailerons _ set. Now, this we do want the axis in front of. And you can just go and find them like we did before. We want the axis anytime we are dealing with a command where when the control surface is in its rested position, it is actually centered. So our cyclic is in a rested position, and our cyclic is currently centered. So any command, same thing with your yokes, right? Your flight sticks, whatever. In those situations, you want the axis _ in front of it. And I think that is the correct command. Let's find out. Ding! It is the correct command. Look at that. But it is, that one is inverted. So axis tune, invert, and save, and then go over here to the Y and check this out. We can do axis _ elevator. I think it's either elevators or elevators or elevator. Nope. So that one was wrong. So let's come in here. It's elevator. I'm pretty sure. Yep. Now, Again, what we want to do, let's go back here though, and let's check out the helicopter one. I wanted to show you guys this because I want to show you guys that either one can work. And it really just depends. If you are trying to use the helicopter ones and you find that they're not, 9 times out of 10, just go back to think of fixed wing airplane and it will probably work. 9 times out of 10, that's my solution whenever these helicopter commands don't work. So that's the throttle set. We don't want that. We want, let's just go helicopter. So like lateral set. Axis, cyclic, lateral set. That's what that should be. Let's hit save. And that is working. Okay. But it's behaving the exact same way as what we had before. So if we go back into bind. Yep. So 9 times out of 10, I'm telling you, it's not going to be any different. Longitudinal. That one's inverted. And that's it. Okay. Okay, so we're now hot started on the deck. Adding some of that collective in. Adding some of that anti-torque to the right. More anti-torque, lot more anti-torque. There we go. Correcting that sideways movement, at least trying to. There we go. Not bad. Less is more. I cannot tell you guys. If you're just learning how to fly the helicopters, it doesn't matter what simulator. Microsoft Flight Simulator, X-Plane, DCS World, fly with your fingertips. Do not grip the cyclic. If you're finding helicopters very frustrating to fly, use your fingertips and relax your damn shoulders. You know who I'm talking to. If I had to say relax your damn shoulders, you know who I am talking to. All right, so we are now in the air, and we're going to set up the trim command so that way you guys can see those active. So this is going to be trim left, right. I guess that would be trim nose up. That'll be trim nose down. So let's get these squared away here. So again, trim left is going to be 14. So that's going to be rotor lateral trim decrease. We're going to want to make that a hold action. We want that to continue. As long as I'm holding this button, keep doing it. So we're going to make that a hold action. We can actually come to this single press and get rid of that if you want to keep things clean. We're going to go to Browse Events. Initially, I was going to do this on the ground. I decided it made more sense to do it in the air so I could show you guys. So again, we want, and you can just do lateral. It's probably the easiest way to find it. Trim. And you want rotor lateral trim. And again, decrease for left, increase right. So we want decrease. And then I'm just going to copy this because I'm going to show you how fast we can do the next one. Copy. And then for the right side, we're going to take 12, add press, hold again. Keep doing it for as long as I'm holding it. Clear that single press out so it's not in the way. Highlight, paste, change decrease to increase. Save. That's it. And the beautiful part is, I bet you guys can guess what the up and down is. So, for the nose up, or cyclic aft, you want increase. Okay, so let's find that one, which is going to be this guy. Trim. Again, hold. Remove that action if we want. Paste. It's going to be longitudinal. And let's see here. Let me think about this for a second. Nose aft is going to be increase. So just like that. Copy. Come over here to 11. Just like before. Hold. Clear the single out. Keep things clean. Paste. Oops. Decrease. Okay, now let's go and fly. Move that out of the way. Let's test it. So we're airborne here. All right, so you guys can see if I let go of the cyclic, we're going really nose high. So I'm gonna hold my trim forward button, holding. So this is longitudinal increase, I believe. I'm gonna keep holding. We still got a bit more trim to do. Still going, still going, still going. Okay, you guys got the idea. It is definitely working. Now if I let go, it's still pulling up, but what I'm more interested in now is left or right. Okay? If we pull some of that collective down, that'll settle the lifting up as well. Still trimming manually that nose down a bit. Now, if I hold the trim right, holding, you can see the aircraft starting to rock to the right. There it goes. Now we're going back to the left. I'm using only trim at this point. And there it finally starts coming to the left. Remember what I said, with helicopters, less is more. So you're not going to see that dramatic turn one direction or shift one direction or the other like you do with a fixed-wing aircraft. Okay, so bad news for the Taog's Huey when it comes to force trim. It doesn't exist in this aircraft. The documentation and Taog's own verbiage clearly states that, unfortunately, force trim is not supported. So what you have to do is you have to trim it the old-fashioned way like we just were. And the one thing you are going to want, now I put mine on a long press because I don't want it to accidentally ever trigger. Long press is anything a half a second or more before the action will actuate. And that is rotor _ trim _ reset. Okay, so just like what we have right here. And what that will do is clear all of your trim settings, which could make the aircraft behave a little goofy when you first hit the button. So let's find out. So back in here, press and hold. And that resets the trim completely. So it really just depends on how wicked you have it trimmed out. I should probably get back on my rudder pedals here. Anti-torque pedals. I will say to this day, and this is just personal opinion, right, that I do think that the best modeled helicopter is the UH-1 Huey in DCS world. I think that is absolutely by far my favorite helicopter I've ever flown in any simulator. Not to say one's better, like one's less fun. They're all fun. I've had a great time with all of these helicopters in this sim. Let's start slowing that down, shall we? Coming down to, there's 80 knots. Continuing to lift that nose up. 60 knots. Start letting that altitude fall a bit. There's 40 knots. We don't want to lose too much forward momentum, especially in these low speeds. Start bringing that collective back on a bit. As you can see, we have way more tail authority at the lower speeds. Watching those speeds still. Down to 20 knots. There we go. Now, I will say for me, I usually remove all of my trim when I'm coming in for landing. Just one of those things that I do. I like to know exactly what the aircraft's wanting to do. Ooh, we're wandering a bit. Ooh, we're wandering a bit. We're wandering a bit. We're wandering a bit. Not too bad. Okay, I've had worse. Okay, the last one I'm going to show you guys is the starter. So let's go ahead and back this down a bit. for the starter, and this one's actually pretty easy to trigger. According to the documentation from Taog's Hangar, you're going to want to trigger both an on and an off. And I do recommend that you guys go through the documentation when you download the Taog's Hangar UH-1. Reason being is because he's got quite a few different things. Like, for example, left and or decreased flaps and increased flaps. That's going to be your searchlight movement left and right. Increment spoilers, decrement spoilers. That's going to be your searchlight up and down, right? So I do heavily recommend that you guys, for an aircraft like this, third party that's like Taog's Hangar, make sure you read the documentation because it tells you a lot of this stuff. But the last one that you're going to want is obviously the starter switch, especially if you're mapping this to a collective and you're trying to keep this as realistic as possible. So we're going to use a pinky switch here on our flight stick, on our Cyclic, but the process will be the same. Now the idea here, and this is the same, you know what, let's do this one through the Stream Deck, because that way I can show you guys something from the Stream Deck. So let's do this. We're going to fire up my Stream Deck. Where are you? Oh, hey, there you are. And these are from testing. Let's get rid of the testing stuff. That's boring as hell, right? Bye-bye, bye-bye. Here we go. Okay, so let's do like this one here. We're going to come down, we're going to grab an HC binding, bring it up, and if you're not using the HC binding, it'll be the same, guys, no big deal. I hate that it does this. This is a bug that I am dealing with. Okay, so now we got those cleaned out. We're going to go configure binding, brings this up. Hey, that looks familiar, doesn't it? And so, according to the documentation in Taog's Hangar, for this particular aircraft, you want set starter 1, okay? So we're going to go to browse and we're going to look for starter. Okay, so for the starter, you can see that we have the set starter 1 held. Okay. And what we want is we actually want set starter 1, or sorry, starter 1 set. Goodness gracious. That's what we're going to want for our press. So ignore this. This pops up. We don't need this for this particular piece. Okay. But I did it again. We want this on hold because we're going to simulate holding the starter button. So we're going to just copy that, clear it, add press, hold, boom, and drop that one in there. And we want the value to be 1. And then we're going to add another action on release. On release, we want 0. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll just make a quick label. Nothing crazy. Label on. Well, here. We'll just do starter. There's one other piece here we missed, and that is the state. In this particular one, we're just going to do toggle when pressed. So right now you can see I got starter. Press it again, goes off. That was weird. Okay, so first, let's see if I can remember where all of this is. We want this to be on the main position. Our battery switch. That's already set to ESS. That's already set to phase. Start switch is set. That one's already set. Need to silence the warning. That's the low RPM warning. Hit a reset. Force trim, even though it doesn't work. Hydraulic is set. Fuels are set. So now when we push our button, I'm holding, but if I let go, looks like it's already ready to rock and roll. And there it goes. Now, if I remember correctly, I thought there was an option in the clipboard too for some of this stuff. Nope, I guess that's it. All right, fair enough. Okay, and that's it for this one. So, the last thing that I'm going to show you guys is if you want to find specific commands that maybe weren't mentioned here, go into your advanced options, turn on developer mode, hit save and back, hit resume, go into our tools, and you want the behaviors window. Now, you'll get two windows. You got the big one and the little one. You don't need the little one for this. We do want the big one. Now, notice that when I click in the cockpit, the title bar turns black. That's what you want when you're finding a command. If it is blue, that means you're still clicked in this window. It's not going to do squat because you can move your views around while you're doing that. So let's see here. Let's try to find something here. Like, I believe that is the force trim button, if I remember correctly. And you can see this one doesn't have it yet. Handling trim release. So that's our trim release switch. But unfortunately, these are all animations. Force push. These are all animations, so they unfortunately they don't seem to give us anything. Uh-oh, I made something mad. There we go. Spin up the rotor. That's why it was on low RPM. But if you wanted landing light, now you have your input events. The blue are going to be SimConnect. The orange are B events. Okay? Now, this is only the first of many helicopters that we're going to be doing. We're actually going to be reviewing a helicopter tomorrow for that video. We also got some really cool flight instrument equipments that are going to be coming. So I hope this helped you guys at least get through the basics on setting your helicopter controls. Remember, with the Taog's Hangar, as far as I can tell, force trim, quick trim, things like that are not an option. They don't seem to do anything with this particular aircraft. Okay? So, anyways, folks, as always, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you're interested in trying Hangar Control, overkillsimulations.com, and I will see you all in the next one.